The Path to New Life by Rebecca J. L. Chapter 1, Part 3. They chained him up and dragged him into a cage that was pulled by a horse. How could I not notice this before? I was so stupid to let my guard down. Ugh. But then I realized something. Father hadn't denied it. Oh, crud. Not good. I jumped when Queen Marissa grabbed my hand. She quickly let go of my hand and said, "Let's go inside, dear." I followed her and Princess Rose into the house, and then we sat down in the living room. Once we were seated, Queen Marissa said, "Hon, this is going to be very difficult for you, but Kurt Dove is not his name, and he is not your father either. His real name is Kurt Samuels, a traitor to our kingdom. He used to be our friends, and is your real mother's half-brother. He killed your grandfather, Lord Daniel. He was caught, but someone freed him, and then he took you. We have been searching for you for a long time. Every time we come close to finding you, you would have already moved to someplace different. Your real name is Dove White. You have a twin sister that looks exactly like you, and a younger brother." She paused to let me take all this in. "So, I'm a lady. I have a twin sister and a little brother. My birth parents are Lord and Lady White, who are best friends to the king and queen. I was kidnapped and tricked into thinking that Kurt was my father." Ugh, wait, did she tell me my real family's names? I don't think so. So I asked, "What are the names, my family's?" Queen Marissa smiled a small, sad smile and said, "Lord White's name is Brandon. Lady White's name is Angela. Your twin's name is Duff, but we call her Duffy. And your little brother's name is Daniel II, but Dan for short." I leaned back in my chair and bit my lip while I thought this over. Then I thought about Kurt. Anger towards him flared. I scowled at my shoes and clenched my hands into fists. "I need to punch something." I stood up and said, "Excuse me, I need to go do something." I stormed out of the house. All the men turned and stared at me. I stormed past all the men and up to Kurt. He grinned a nasty grin at me, and I lost it. I roared, "You lied to me, and on top of that you killed my grandfather and took me from my family." Kurt just laughed. I snarled, then grabbed his shirt, drew back my arm, and punched him as hard as I could. I let go of his shirt, and he slid to the floor, knocked out. I huffed, then raced into the woods. I ran and ran until I could run no more. Surprisingly, I was at the river. How long had I been running for? I mean, the river was a half-day's ride on horse from town. I collapsed beside the river and noticed that my hand that I had punched Kurt with was bruised. Ouch. Just lovely. I shook my hand and splashed my face and undressed and went under the warm water. This feels nice. After being in the water for what felt like 5 minutes, but was really half an hour, I got out and got dressed. My hands were all wrinkly. Once I was dressed, I went hunting. Not long later, I had caught a rabbit, and I was now building a fire to cook it. I gently blew in the fire as I caused friction, and the fire started. I grinned in victory, and then I placed the meat on a piece of wood that I carved and cooked it. While it cooked, I leaned against a tree trunk and looked up at the stars and listened to the sound around me. 20 minutes later, I checked the rabbit meat to find that it was ready, so I let it cool before I ate it. Once I finished, I unwrapped my cloak around me and laid in a comfortable position and watched the stars dance. Soon enough, I fell asleep and dreamt deeply.